In this session, let us see how the nutrition in human being take place. The nutrition starts from the mouth. The mouth is going to take the food, and that process of intake of whole food is called as ingestion. After the food is ingested, it is given to the teeth, which will grind or chew the food and break it into simpler substances. Then it is done with the help of tongue also. The tongue will support the teeth in chewing and grinding by making the food to push from one teeth side to another teeth. It will roll it, it will check the taste of the food also, and it will also push the food down or swallow the food down to the esophagus. And salivary glands are secreted below the tongue, which are going to secrete one juice called as saliva, and this also secretes one juice which is called as mucus. That mucus is going to protect the mouth from the acidic medium. And the starch which is present in the food, that is converted into sugar or broken into simpler substances. The process which is called as digestion, which is taking place in the mouth, and this is done by one enzyme called as saliva, or it is also called as amylase, AMLYSE. Next, the food is passed to the next part of the body, which is called as esophagus. Esophagus is a tube-like structure. It is a tube passing between mouth and stomach. It is going from mouth to stomach. It is connected there, and it takes the food from the mouth to the stomach by making use of peristaltic movement. Peristaltic movement is nothing but the contraction and expansion of muscles of esophagus tube itself. The esophagus tube will contract and expand. When it is taking the food, it will expand. When it is pushing the food down, it will contract. In that way, the food is pushed down to the stomach. Next, the food is passed to the stomach. Here, in the stomach, there are gastric glands which will secrete the gastric juice. This gastric juice is of three types. First one is pepsin, second one hydrochloric acid, and mucus. Mucus is generated in the stomach wall itself. This is done so as to protect the stomach inner wall from the acid. And the pepsin is another gastric juice which is going to break down the proteins into simpler substances. This is what is digestion, which is taking place in the stomach. Digestion is a process in which the complex substances are broken down into simpler substances, and protein is a complex substance that is broken down into simpler substances in the stomach. And to break down this protein into simpler substance, it requires acidic medium. So the HCl, hydrochloric acid, is also generated in the gastric juice. This is how it is making use of the acidic medium in which the proteins are converted down or broken down into simpler substances. Next, the food after digestion, it is passed to the small intestine. The small intestine is having intestinal enzyme. It will generate the intestinal enzyme which will convert the carbohydrates into simpler substances, that is glucose. Fats will be converted into fatty acid and glycerol, and proteins will be converted into amino acids. This intestinal enzyme will check the type of the food. If the food is having carbohydrate, those carbohydrates present in the food are converted into glucose. If the food is containing fats, after digestion in the stomach, if some more fat is left over, that is converted into fatty acid and glycerol. And after digestion in the stomach again, if the proteins are left there, then again those are converted into amino acids by the intestinal enzyme. This intestine, small intestine, is having finger-like projections called as villi inside its surface. And in these villi there are blood vessels. So those will be absorbing the digested food. The villis will be absorbing the digested food from the small intestine. Small intestine is having digested food now. Those digested food are absorbed by the blood. Villi is having blood vessels and those blood will be absorbing the digested food. So this is all about how the nutrition is going to take place. Then after this digestion and all, the next process is the food is given to the large intestine from where it is excreted. The undigested food is given out of the body. That process is called as digestion. Thank you.